What's up, guys? Good.
Your relationship with Greg, you obviously coached with him here in Tampa. You knowing what Greg's all about, and obviously him knowing your offensive philosophy, advantage either way. I mean, how do you really look at what Greg does and recall that?
Well, there are some similarities to the system he ran here. I think it's a little bit different. A little bit more reliant on the personnel to just go play hard and play fast, and they certainly do that. They're physical, but they create a lot of challenges schematically as well. I don't know that it's a total recall from 10 years ago and going against each other in practice and all that. I think you just kind of have to analyze it for what they're doing now, because you could end up saying, hey, they used to do this, they used to do that, but they haven't done it. It's really not. I don't want to. We have enough going on with as young as we are to just kind of more or less prepare for what we've seen or what could come next type thing. As far as him with our offense, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of, he saw a lot of similar concepts the other day that I'm sure we either chuckled at or said, this looks familiar, I'm sure. But it's still, that we had different stages of what that offense was, and this isn't exactly that whole system or thereabouts of what we had in the past. It's a little bit different version of it now in a lot of different kind of subtle ways. So I'm sure it'll help them a little bit. I don't know if it helps us as much. I think I'm just going to kind of go off of what I see out there. But, the guy is one of the best coaches of anything in the country. For them to have him as an assistant is obviously a giant bonus, which I think has been noted by their AD and their head coach several times. So, it's obviously a tremendous challenge when you know the quality of coaching that goes on at that school on top of the players.
Coach, after watching film, what's your assessment of Sikowski and how he fared his first time out, strengths and weaknesses?
Well, the good thing, it's the first game for everyone, like we had said before. He really ran the operation well. We didn't have any issues with the clock. We had the one penalty. It was obviously costly, but it was an alignment issue. We didn't have any trouble in and out of the huddle, the substitutions, the calls, the shifts, the motions, just the general operation of the game, the things you CQ exchange, things that could come up. If you watch any of these games, the first week, a lot of people had those problems. We didn't have any problems with that, so he did a good job of operating all that. We put, a lot on them. They created some challenges in terms of they blitzed an awful lot, a high percentage of the time. So there was a lot going on for him to kind of digest up there. We had prepared for a couple different systems, Oklahoma, where the guy was the year before, Columbia when he'd been the coordinator, what they'd done at Texas State the year before. So he had a lot to kind of digest as the game was going on, that, hey, here's the mode that they're in and here's what we're going to try to do. So from that standpoint, I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was calmer in the pocket and threw more accurately at times than even he had in camp as far as leading guys on the run. And I think a lot of that had to do with he had some pretty good pockets. I thought he showed a lot of toughness. You guys had asked last week about when he takes his first hits. We didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. And right out the gate, it's a helmet-to-helmet cheap shot, as he's going down. And yet he, bounced right back up. He got hit at the knees several times, however that goes for those guys. But, got, bounced back up as well. So, and then the interceptions, they kind of all have their own little story to them. I mean, two of them he got hit throwing. That didn't help. Certainly, the ball kind of just faded off on the one to Bo and the one to Mo. The other one is just really a bad play. I have to put that on me. I don't think that was really it wasn't worth doing, and it wasn't a good play for what they ran. Certainly, you could make it work, I guess, but I kind of put that on me. So obviously, we want to protect the football and just kind of feel the rush a little bit. Obviously, the one sack was a bad, shouldn't have happened, but it. Just to be more aware of it could happen. I think he was obviously very trusting of the line, thinking, hey, I'm good to go, and all of a sudden you get hit with the ball in your hand and the ball comes out. That obviously could have been bad as well. But I'm happy about the way he played. Obviously we have enough to critique on as we go through the week and grow from. But I think that a lot of the things that could go wrong for a guy starting his first game, he kind of breezed right by all of those. And then, when we get into performance, obviously the competition will go up here. But I thought he did a good job.
John, John, can you just talk about Bosa and kind of the challenges he presents for you offensively, dealing with him?
Well, I was with Joey at the Chargers the last 2 years, and I know that just the family, the work ethic, the intensity, the love of the game. As talented as the guy is, he plays that much harder than anybody else on the field. And that's Joey's the same way. Nick and Joey same. The talent with the motor, that's rare. I mean, that's why that's why third pick in the draft, defensive MVP or rookie of the year, all that business. And that's why this guy will be pretty high regarded as well. I think besides the physical talent and the pass rush ability and the pass rush moves and the strength and the power, it's just the relentless way he plays. And he can, just like his brother, he can bend his body in all different ways to get around you. You think you have him up high, next thing you know, he's down around your knees. He's got so much to his game, and when he gets to the quarterback, he gets him down. A lot of these guys go flying over the top, or they get a hand on them, or they get bounced to the ground. When this guy gets to whoever the ball carrier is, he gets them down on the ground. So he's really, he's one of the best players probably in the whole country right now. I don't know how you could play much better than he does.
They gave up a lot of big plays on Saturday. I think 82% of Oregon State's production was in 7 plays. I know they didn't have Jordan Fuller. I mean, is he a guy who makes that much of a difference there, or are there maybe things that you can exploit? Obviously, you're not going to tell me them, but.
No, I think it's, like I said, it's first game for everybody. I think they had some, I don't know what exactly they're doing, but, they had, Oregon State's got some good players, and they were keyed up for that game, and they made some plays. And, you never know how the game goes on, and it gets to 42-7, and they hit a big play. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe somebody laughs at Joe, maybe somebody else is in, whatever it might be. But, it's like anything. I mean, we're going to go up there and battle our butts off against them, hopefully hit some big plays. They could give you some opportunities for that. But I don't think it's any – I think Fuller's a tremendous player. I think he makes a big difference. I think anytime you get a leader of your defense who's making calls back there to call him a secondary down, I think that makes a big difference. I don't know enough to know whether there were issues. I just think, Oregon State made some plays. Their kids were playing hard. It was their opener too. And they certainly put the score doesn't really indicate the effort that they put out there. Certainly, they played their rear ends off. And, they hit some things. So I don't think it was anything Ohio State did wrong. I just think they made some plays on them.
John, what do you think of the wide receiver group and where they're at right now? What did you see from what they did this week?
Well, we didn't, we caught everything. I mean, that was a good start. I mean, there was no drops the other day. For the most part, we were, doing the right things, which is same thing. Just a lot of them. I mean, I think Bo had as many catches as he had his entire season last year in one game, and certainly we would like to get him more. But they did a really good job of assignment-wise, alignment, where they were. We have a lot of shifts and motions, which involves those guys, just little things that could go wrong. They did a really good job with that. The game became kind of just a grind it out. We didn't want to do a whole lot in the second half. We figured let's just, pound the ball a little bit and get out of here, so to speak. And so, some guys could get turned off by that and say, hey, we're not even in the game anymore. I kind of was thinking after the game, I wish maybe give those guys a few more chances down the field, but it just didn't seem like the thing to do. We kind of had it in hand, and it was so. But they never. The effort never wavered. They played hard the whole day, and I think they'll just continue to get better. They just have to play, we have to keep finding ways to take advantage of what they do well and give them a chance to keep doing it.
The last year touchdown off the shovel pitch, I think it was that, correct me if I'm wrong, was that something that you used to do with Ray, especially toward the tail end? And just talk about just how challenging that is to stop when you have someone as speedy as last year who can get around, get past
the
linebacker.
First one, the toss.
Yeah, the toss.
That was an old Ray deal. I think that was I thought about starting the season with it. I figured Greg would get a laugh out of it. That ended up being the first touchdown. And it wasn't blocked great. Tariq did a great job on it. Cole getting out there, and you really knocked 2 guys down. We didn't exactly block it as prescribed, but you get it in the hands of two, you kind of eliminate some people on the backside. You can almost eliminate half the defense because you get out to the other side, and then it's really on the runner. I mean, John made some nice runs on that same play, but Raheem really kind of made that work, and Tariq. So, but that's it's something, you got a young quarterback, and it gives people something to think about if they want to have all these people inside and coming after you. You try to get the ball outside, but that really becomes more on the runner as much as anything. It's a nice play by him.
Putting aside the talent for a second, the differential to Ohio State, how much more difficult is it for all the things that went right on Saturday to go right in that hostile environment, loud crowd, intimidating atmosphere with a lot of young guys?
Well, I think that's going to be our top challenge this week, just handling the atmosphere, handling the noise, communicating, staying on the same page. It is much easier. You're at home and the guys are right there. If you want to make adjustments, you could yell them out a lot of times, or you could get them communicated player to player. You hear every call in the huddle and you go. Obviously, this will be kind of a hornet's nest for sure, one of the more difficult places in the country to play. So, I guess we'll find out. But that is, to me, that is, we usually do kind of the top challenges of the week. I think that's number one. We have to make sure that we can handle the atmosphere, and that's on us as well as coaches. I think we have to make sure particularly early in the game, what do we ask them to do, in whether it's timing things up or whether it's, complicated with trying to do things at the line of scrimmage. I think we have to be smart as well to try to get ourselves off to a fast start.
How pleased with you? I think you had a 15-play drive and 11 2 5-minute drives. I mean, that was something you mentioned earlier back in the spring that it's not something that happens a lot. I mean, how pleased you get 2 of those drives?
Well, the third downs were really the key. I know we got a couple by penalty as the day went on, but I thought our production on third down was really the key to the game. It's another thing with Art. I thought he handled the situations well in terms of we had a good coming out drive. We had a good, red zone. For the 4 touchdowns in the red zone, a good 2-minute drive, even though the touchdown gets negated in a bit. But as far as the operation, but the third downs were like the one part that, as a young guy, that was always going to be the big concern of how well we did, and we did a good job with that. That's what's really the key if you're going to get those drives. Now you can't, depending on them every week. I don't, that'll be hard to do. But it was good to see because it was good for our team to be able to do that because sometimes in the middle of those drives, fatigue or you kind of take your eye off the ball because you can't, with a young group, can't stay focused that long. But they did a good job of it. But I really think the third downs were kind of key to that.
Blackshear, I think the number was around 22 touches. Is that a good number for him? And also just your initial impressions on Pacheco.
Well, with Raheem, I keep saying he's our best player, and so there's no. I guess I shouldn't be as, people read that and go, oh, they're trying to get him the ball 20-some, times a game. But if we weren't, if they didn't think that, then we'd be doing something wrong. I think we've been doing a disservice to all of us. But he's a great kid. He loves football. Every day he's up and flying around, and and the results show in his play. And then, Isaiah is like a guy on fire now. He's a tough runner, and, sometimes it could take 6 steps to go 1 foot, but then the next thing you know, he's 20 yards down the field. So there's some things that he's got to work out in terms of the way he plays, but he's another guy. You talk about a guy that loves football. I mean, you can't. He's dying to play at all times, and we trust him. He's really kind of gained the staff's trust. Being here early obviously helped. But I think there's great things ahead for him. I think he's a workhorse. And I think we're going to rely more and more on him, as we go. And then, having John's experience really showed in the game, where we can handle. We're coming out. The guy doesn't mess around. He gets the ball off the goal line, and we got a chance for a manageable third down. We're going in. The guy, he gets it in. I mean, he's not going to dance and lose 5. He's not going to dance, and he's going to get the ball in the end zone if you can get him, going to the line. So all those things are important. So I feel like we got 3 guys there that showed in game day. Not saying Trey or Snorway or those guys can't. Those guys showed in a game environment that they can be kind of trusted and counted on.
I think 8 different receivers caught the ball. One is that could that be a staple to this offense, spreading the wealth? And 2, is that a tribute to kind of Art going through reads and being able to see different guys?
I think it's a little bit of both. You know, we're going to try to. We told those guys early on if hopefully it's not only 11. I mean, you got 5 linemen, so it's really 6. But hopefully it's not only 11 guys we can play in a game. Hopefully it's 15, 18, whatever, because we're all there and dressed. So if we can use you, we're going to find a way to use you. So it's a little bit by design of, hey, this is what we feel like these guys can do. We have to stay fresh. You know, we're not particularly, whether you talk about the receiver unit or even the tight ends, we're not giants. I mean, we're going to get through this Mount Everest of a schedule here in 12 games, we're going to try to keep guys fresh. So I think we trust a lot of people to do their job. It's a little bit of product of that, and it's a little bit of, hey, we want these guys to do these things, and we'll kind of mark them that way and try to get them the ball in these ways. So it was a little bit of both. But we're going to need all those guys to stay healthy. We're going to try to play as many, and obviously we're as young as probably any team in the country, but we're going to continue to trust those guys and play them. All right, thanks, guys.